And
No,
so
but
it
you can
just
prompt it to
push.
disagree with you, but even the
Yeah.
disagreements, you can't. Can you trust the disagreements, or is it just
Who
disagree
knows?
because
Who
you
knows?
told it to disagree? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I don't know.
exactly.
Again, like stop making it replace your thinking. You know what I mean? Be the ultimate thinker. Have it be the, use it as
It's an
the,
execution. It's a worker.
AI isn't just changing dentistry, it's completely redefining it. Tune into Bite-Sized Podcast, the Dental AI and Tech Podcast, and stay ahead of the curve.
Back to another episode of the Bite-Sized Podcast. Every dental practice owner thinks they just need a better AI tool. What they actually need is a better idea. My guest today, Len Davis, runs a creative and marketing production company that has been building campaigns for brands long before AI entered the room. He has spent the last several years in the trenches testing AI tools across image generation, video production, campaign strategy, but not as a skeptic, but as someone who has to bill his clients for results. So he's looking for results. His TikTok content challenges the limits of AI creativity, has been building a sharp practitioner level perspective on where these tools actually break down, which is actually where I found you. I found you on TikTok. And I brought you on today to draw a line that most of the industry is afraid to draw, which is about creativity. So Len, thank you for coming onto the show today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Adrian. Pleasure to be here.
Cool. I did mention, I was so glad that you actually responded to my TikTok message, because sometimes I send those out and nobody responds. So I appreciate you responding.
I'm glad I found it. Yeah. I mean, I should probably check it more regularly.
Yeah. Will you, because you're not directly in the dental industry, I think you've worked with some dentists, maybe. Have you worked with dentists in the past?
We have worked with some medical practices. I don't know if we've worked with a dentist's office. My cousin's actually a dentist, so I probably know more than I ever wanted to know about dental practices and stuff. So
call him up and tell him that you're going to do his marketing for him.
I don't like to do business with family, you know how it goes.
Yeah. Smart.
Keep the peace, gonna keep the peace.
This is a wise man we're talking to here.
Yeah. There's the best non-AI advice you could ever have right there.
Don't go into business with your family. Yes. Point taken. Tell us a little bit about your journey, your company, how you landed where you're at. Quick kind of 2-3 minute overview really quick, so people know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time. I mean, I've been in business, PRI's been in business for 26 years this March. So I've kind of seen it all, right? We started in the, company began in the dot-com bubble, way back then in March of 2000. So, and probably, the economy was crashing and all this kind of stuff, but, my background before then was in sales and marketing. Okay. And I worked with other agencies, and I kind of saw an opportunity where, a lot of these agencies, it was very clear they were charging a lot of money, doing a lot of things that could have been improved better. So it kind of challenged me to go and start something on my own. And from the get-go, we've kind of been in some ways, the same type of full service, full stack marketing company that we are today. We tried to do everything under one roof, from video production to photography to creative design and layout. Back then it was a lot more print work and stuff like that, from advertising, campaign strategy, the whole deal, website development. Even back then it was in the early days of website development. We're doing a lot of the same things today, this one-stop shop in essence for our clients. We're just so much better at it. Back then we were, feeling our way through it. Now we've got really great talented, people on staff that are experts in each one of their particular areas that they work in, so yeah, it's every day is a different day. It's fun. I can continue to love it. It's just, our goal is and always has been to provide better value to our clients from a marketing standpoint, and that's kind of how we structured our company around that.
I love it. Where are you guys based out of?
We're out of Batavia, Illinois, which is one of the Chicago suburbs. It's probably like 45 minutes west of the city.
Cool.
I call it God's country, but it's still far enough to be away, but close enough to, go into the city and enjoy things. But, over the years, a lot of city amenities have moved out by us, So there's very very little
Yeah.
reason to go into the city that much anymore. I mean, there's so much great stuff, bars and
Yeah.
restaurants,
Nice.
everything about it. So,
Well, thank you for that kind of quick overview of your company and kind of how you got started and whatnot. So I found you on, like I mentioned, I found you on TikTok. I found your content to be unique in a good way from all of the crap that comes through on TikTok. And one of the things that some of the stuff that you were publishing was around this idea that AI is an execution machine. It's not a creativity machine, or it's not a great idea machine, but it's an execution machine. And I think that this plays is a I think it's correct, but I think when you look at all the content being published online about the capabilities of AI, everybody's pitching it as an idea machine. That it solves the creativity issue, and you're taking the position that no, it doesn't solve the creativity issue. So I want you to I want to build on this. I really want you to kind of like dig into why you take this position and give me some examples of how you come to that claim.
yeah, I mean, and let's just put it into context that this could date itself tremendously poorly, right? Anything you talk about with AI today, right? Could
you
be
never
completely different in 3 months. You just never know. Never know where it's going. It could be an amazing idea machine in a year or two or less. Who knows? I don't know. In my experience, that's, and this is one topic I've touched on with AI, what I mean? Because, I would love for it to be an amazing idea machine, but in practice where I've tried to maybe help, we do a lot of strategic planning for our clients.
Okay.
And that involves digesting a lot of data and input and past history and what's worked, what hasn't, what's their market like, who are their competitors, and how are you going to cut through the noise? How are you going to develop a message or an angle, or what's the direction to send the client next that will foster business growth, adoption and so forth, depending on their industry. Give all the inputs to the AI, doesn't matter which one, whatever your particular flavor of choice is, ChatGPT or Claude or, Perplexity or any of these others, and ask it to come up with ideas and a strategic plan. And in almost every single case, at best, it regurgitates very generic suggestions that sound amazing, very well articulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nothing earth-shattering. Like, run these campaigns. It's just very boilerplate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. And in worst case scenario, it just completely ignores and forgets very key things that it should be recommending. Initiatives that make absolute sense, it omits. Or I've seen a lot of hallucination too, where it just makes up stuff.
Sure.
And it's it just makes up stats and figures and things like that. If you don't actually fact check it, sometimes it just you could set yourself up for some major embarrassment. So it's that's my experience to date so far with it. If you wanted to disseminate data and segment markets and take a lot of data that's inputted into it and try to have it summarize and get you maybe a higher level picture and summary, it does a pretty good job at that. It really does. But create something brand new that's innovative, like it doesn't even have to be marketing related. It could be anything, right? And like I said, these are these general models that we all have access to, right? And there are very specifically trained models in various industries that might be doing amazing insights and jobs, but they're trained in a particular niche. You know what I mean? And I'm by no means a AI expert, on that, the mechanics on what's happening with these behind the scenes, other than, as much as you and I both learn about it as we learn about these models and how they work. But, it seems like the computer scientists don't even know how they work and they can't ever explain it. They have to ask it. I just saw a TikTok this morning about this trend that Claude in the last couple of months has been giving worse and worse outputs and worse recommendations. And one of the senior engineers who left the company before he left asked it on a deep dive, at some other system level, that it basically admitted it was just not even, it was being lazy. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like it was basically saying like the model was responding to him that it was not it was ignoring some of the inputs or not reading through all of it or not taking it all into account.
Mm-hmm.
And then just coming up with answers that hopefully sounded good enough to, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, it's kind of scary if you think about it, right? It's really good. It's sounding convincing. That's for sure. Without a doubt.
That's true. Yeah. So as you're talking about, like, it's really good at like analyzing patterns in data. It's really good at kind of regurgitating stuff in maybe a slightly different version. Let me give you an example of what I think you mean by that and tell me if this fits, or give me an example from your own experience. So I, when Midjourney, which is an image generation tool, came out, which came out super early, right after ChatGPT came out, it kind of took the world by storm. I think it's probably not has much of a life of its long-term longevity, because a lot of the large language models are doing image generation just as good as it now or better. But it's just this fantastic image generation tool. And what you would do is you would go in and you'd set up an account, you'd go in and you'd create a prompt and say, make me create a dentist riding a unicorn and at sunset. And you'd hit go and it would give you 4 images that you could kind of like pick from. So it was kind of like a slot machine. It was like, oh, what am I going to get now? So you just put in a prompt and you pull the slot machine and it gives you 4 images, and they're crazy. They're crazy wild. And so I made tens of thousands of images. I was spending way too much time playing with this, right? And what I noticed is that in that process, it seemed like it was super creative because it was giving me something that I didn't necessarily expect, but there was no real creative direction behind it. Meaning I was giving it a random prompt, right? So what I did is I took all these images. I go to my creative director. His name is Blake Hadley. Brilliant guy, artist, marketing guru kind of guy. And I said, dude, you've got to look at this stuff. Now, this guy's a designer by trade. And I said, you got to look at this, man. This is absolutely mind blowing. Look at all these images that I'm making. And I'm showing you hundreds of images. And he is not impressed. He's not impressed. He's like, well, what's the idea? Like, are you just going to start posting images of dentists riding unicorns? Like, what the hell does that do for marketing? I said, well, I don't know, but it's cool.
But these images
right?
look so cool, right? But these images are so cool.
Yeah, right.
Look how many I got. Look how many.
And and I can iterate on them. I can make a new one. Like I can make the pores black or red or silver.
Yeah.
So he's just like, yeah, but what's the idea? And me not being like a creative guy, like I'm like, I don't understand what he's talking about. Well, what do you mean? What's the idea? He says, well, like why is anybody going to look at this? You know what I mean? Why is anybody going to look at a dentist riding a unicorn? Like, what's the point? Like, what's the idea behind it that helps a patient come to a dental practice? Right? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, dentists riding unicorns is not really a great marketing piece. Right. So that's what I think about.
And if that was a concept, right?
But if it was,
there's a million different ways to execute that. And maybe there's
give me an
ways
example.
And not good. Yeah. There's better ways and not so better ways. And
right.
And in marketing, in marketing, the only one you care about is the one that actually drives results, right?
Right. Yeah.
But there is a lot to be said for brand and story and overarching consistency and brand messaging that doesn't look like your marketing is, a bag of potpourri. That's where AI fails a lot. It's the nuances, the details. You know what I mean? when you're you've got something in mind and it's kind of giving you something out here, you know what I mean? Which is close, but it's like you can never, it's really bad at just honing it in. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a lot of better tools out there like Nano Bananas, and even some of the latest image models from Google are tremendously better than Midjourney. I just canceled my Midjourney subscription about a month ago because I'm like, I don't even use it.
Yeah. I don't use it anymore.
Regardless, they still fail they're better at iterating, right? Make this change. But when you start getting into like, oh, just make this change, make this one small tweak, it just sometimes just more often than not just ignores it or makes that tweak and changes three other things you
something else.
Change.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So a lot of times when we use AI imagery, we're using some of the tools for specific purposes to get us like 80% there. And then we end up going back to Photoshop and using either generative AI with very specific region, editing capability in Photoshop, or sometimes just going straight to, old school Photoshop and doing what you needed to do. Because, and like the best person to ask about this stuff is not us, it's the designers, right? A lot of them are still, they know how to use the tools. Sometimes it's faster for them to just make the change than it is
make
to roll
the image,
the dice.
just to design the image. Yeah.
I have but sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes these tools are fantastic if you use the right way. You know what I mean? And would save hours, on certain things. And I have examples where I'm like, wow, it's completely changed our workflow with photography and compositing and creating imagery.
Right.
But you have to try these workflows and find out what works. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about. What the whole point of what we're talking about is, it's a tool. It's not going to magically get you this. It's not going to be the art director. It's not going to be the creative director. You know what I mean?
So as a creative
strategist.
Right. So it's kind of like this. So if you hand off your marketing idea creation to, say, ChatGPT, what ChatGPT is going to do, this is in my experience, and I think what you're saying, is that it's going to regurgitate ideas that have already been done. It's not thinking of something brand new, a new perspective, because the model is built to analyze past data and come up with patterns that might, solve the problem. So it's great at analyzing past data. It's great at analyzing, what marketing campaigns have done in the past and maybe giving you a new spin on it. But if it's if you're hiring a creative director to really help you differentiate, especially like in dentistry, where it's like, how do you differentiate in dentistry? It's so hard, right? Because they're all doing the same thing pretty much. Okay. I know dentists listening to this are going to say, I'm not doing the same thing. But from the public's perspective, they're all kind of doing the same thing. How do you differentiate yourself? You can't go to ChatGPT and say, give me a marketing campaign that's never been done before that's going to work, because it doesn't have any, it can't think from a blank slate. That's why you have a human come up with the idea. That's where I think we're landing. Is that fair?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's a machine that iterates on past training data. Well, some could argue that so are humans, right? We're the culmination of everything we've been trained and learned upon. But the reality is I have not seen it yet. Well, and this is, I guess, we're getting really philosophical here, but let's just be real honest. Not all humans are creative. You know what I mean? Not all.
I would say most humans are creative. A very small percentage
aren't really good at creating something brand new and doing that, that idea bubble, right? Well, AI definitely isn't. Not that I've seen at all. I haven't seen one instance of it where it really just like, boom, oh, I never thought of that. Wonderful. It kind of gives you, it's kind of like when you're lazy and don't want to fill the blank piece of paper, it'll start something for you, but you kind of take over. At least that's what I've seen in my experience. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, humans, the reason marketers exist is because most people aren't good at marketing, and most people aren't good at creative, and most people aren't good at unique ideas to how to differentiate and sell. So again, it's like, use it as a tool.
Well,
Like I said, I'd love to be proved wrong one day. That'd be wonderful if it would. But at some point, I don't know. Again, it's really good at mimicking styles and creative directions on things. Or if you give it, hey, look at this, I want something like that. Oh, sure, I'll plagiarize this. I'll make your version of it very easily, really quickly. But the question is should your style be like somebody else's or something unique, new, different that really gets attention and really moves the needle, or, whatever your key metrics are, that's kind of like to your creative director's point, kind of like, well, his questioning,
what's the point?
his complete unimpressiveness.
Yeah. He's like,
you would call it,
what's
right?
the idea?
That's a word.
What's the idea?
Yeah. What's the idea? What's behind this? I'm looking at, it's just kind of like trading cards, otherwise,
Yeah. I want to press on this a little bit. I want to press on this. Okay. So I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say here. So I'm going to try and say it, and I need you to help me understand what I'm trying to say. So in dentistry, well, there's 115,000 dental practices in the United States, somewhere around there. Okay. These are general dentists. Probably 70-80% of what one dentist does, another dentist does. Hygiene, filling gaps, fixing false teeth, basically, right? Some of them do implants, some of them don't, whatever. Okay. It's the same thing, right? It's basically the same service. It's like McDonald's and Burger King and another burger shop. They all make burgers, right? So when you are a dentist and everyone knows what a dentist does, pretty much, okay? There's nothing really new about it. And I'm talking to a dental practice. I'm like, you need to do some marketing so that people in your community see you, okay? Why can't you just tell that dentist, let's find 10 other practices across the United States that are doing really good at marketing and just copy them? I mean, it's a localized marketing strategy. Why can't you just say that?
Yeah, you can to some degree, right? Because they have a very tight geography with what they do. You know what I mean? So yeah, in essence, they could copy other people's tactics, right? But at the end of the day, what are those tactics? I'll give you a perfect example. I saw, like, I think it was like a few months ago, I saw this dentist came up on my feed, and he's uniquely talented in that he would create unique songs and sing and dance them about dentistry, and sings tremendously well. And he's charismatic, and like, oh my God, his page was exploding and stuff like that. And he's doing all the right things, tagging a local area. And I'm assuming getting a ton of attention and a lot of visitors and a lot of foot traffic to his dental practice. Can other people replicate that? Hell no. You know what I mean? Okay. So that's a very unique talent this guy has, you know what I mean? But my point is, why does somebody choose a dentist, right? Partially because it's convenient and close, but more so, they want somebody that it's honestly, can you think of a more unpleasant experience, is like going into the dentist and somebody stick their arm in your mouth, for 45 minutes. It's not the most pleasant thing to go through. They want an office and staff and a dentist that makes them feel comfortable, brings a sense of trust. It's a very personal thing. So while the tactic can be reproduced, the execution of it maybe can't, right? So different people, will choose one dentist over another, basically because whether they like them or the staff, or they're treated well, or they're treated special, or they have a positive outcome and experience, and they don't feel like they're, in a factory line getting churned out, till the next patient comes in. So that's what marketing is about, is communicating that story, communicating that unique benefit. But it's in a tight geography, How you execute that story can be done 50 different ways, for each practice. Yes, you can copy other people's playbook, but can you execute that playbook the same way? That's the question,
Well, I would say to that, I mean, we've worked with more than 7,000 dental practices over the last 16 years. Okay. And, copying, well, we call this copying genius. You find somebody, you say, look, you don't know what to post on Instagram. You don't have time to think about it. Let's find 2 or 3 people online that have great Instagram accounts, and let's just
Mhm.
look at what they're doing. And is this something that you can replicate? I mean, that's why I brought this up, is because
Yeah.
trying to like come to the lowest common denominator, like what can you just get done? I mean, it's one
Yeah.
thing to hire Len to build you a bitchin' marketing campaign that has a lot of thought and creativity behind it. It's another thing to just start posting something on the internet. Like I
Yeah.
just gotta actually pull my phone out,
Yeah.
snap a photo, and post it. Like if that's where we're
Yes.
stuck, it's like, don't think about it. Just do what that guy's doing. And at least that's better than nothing. I mean, that's honestly like
I
where we're at with dentistry.
well, and that's where you're at with every industry,
Oh, that's good to
right?
know. I'm glad it's not just
I mean,
dentists.
it's we have the ability to, grab our phones and multiply a message in a heartbeat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right. We've got amazing democratization of,
Content creation.
platform.
Yeah.
The question is you may have a great dentist who's extremely caring and compassionate and trustworthy, but
They're
sucks
not
on camera
comfortable. Yeah. They're
and
not
not
comfortable
comfortable,
on camera.
right? So
Yeah.
you have to change your tactic for that. You know what I mean? You can
Right.
still convey that same message, but do it in a different way, because if they're not comfortable and they come across as awkward,
You
they're
don't
going to
wanna
be doing
publish
more
it.
harm than good. They're going to be doing more
Yeah.
harm than good by pushing that out there. So, and that's why, in a lot of ways, like I said, marketing kind of has to be uniquely tailored to
Develop.
each client, to each, right. At the end of the day, I mean, we see it online everywhere. You want to rank on Google and, follow these 3 steps, do this, this, and this. What utter bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, right? Sorry, first of all, there's only so many places to rank on Google. Like, not everybody can just magically do these 3 steps. And now, the 10,000 people will rank in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's impossible, right? There's no such thing as this. So, but you see that kind of advice everywhere online. Just do these 3 things. Oh, here's a little hack. Here's a little trick. Do this and you're going to get
Yeah.
this. Doesn't work. Most people try things and they'll realize it fails miserably because you need a game plan. So my suggestion, and we're kind of gone with the, topic here, but, in between hiring a marketing agency, which a lot of maybe small practices can't afford, right?
Mhm.
And just utter winging it and doing it yourself, is get a game plan in between that do it yourself stage.
Yeah.
Get a game plan. Talk about what you want to do. Get some structure in place. Get some strategy. You can hire somebody to help you with that. You can probably do it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But have a course of action, have a game plan, maybe leverage other tools and other things that help you execute on that game plan. Maybe you've got a great office manager or a dental assistant that, that is bubbly and can communicate this message, and you could be on camera, as well as the dentist, right? But she is the host, the voice.
She's the face of it.
Yes. There's so many things you could do to execute on it, as long as you have at least some structure and a game plan, and say, okay, over the next few months, I'm going to just talk about these topics. And these are the things related to education and potentially, what are things that are going to build trust and, and thought leadership in my community about what we do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you've got to do it regularly, because you just never know where somebody's going to find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even with my videos, like I've been doing this over a year now, right? I just decided last year I will join the masses and also start creating daily video content, and I don't post daily. I post daily, but I don't produce daily. I said, I'm not going to try to sell pure eye. I'm just going to be educational about marketing. And most of the time, it's not, I do get direct leads, but most of it is people who find us through other channels then discover my videos as a result through the algorithms, and then tell me as they've already, after I've pitched them and or, given them a proposal, they're like, yeah, I've watched like 4 of your videos, you know what I mean? And it helps close the deal. You know what I mean? So it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody, So, I get so many people telling me I've seen the videos, but it wasn't the first thing that had me reach out to you.
Brought them
so you
in.
just never know how you just never know, or it could be a referral from somebody else. So I do think people should really try to get out of their comfort zone and be on camera more and use social as one of the key marketing tactics and channels, but that's just one. It's one of many, you know what I mean? There's so many things that you could be doing in any business, large or small,
I want to let's put a bow on that, and I want to switch to kind of another concept that you mentioned when we kind of prepped for this. So I think we've kind of beat the idea up a little well enough that the idea creation is probably, or the creative aspect of marketing is not AI is not a great tool for that. At least in our experience, in your experience, it hasn't been. Okay.
Yeah.
But AI tools that solve specific problems are out there, right? And if they're used in the right kind of like process or the step in a process, they can help speed up production. So one of the things that you've mentioned to me is that you are using, like you mentioned earlier, using some image generation in tools inside of your process of developing a marketing campaign. Can you talk a little bit about that and help us understand how you're leveraging AI?
It's in very narrow niche use cases that we found success with it. And the thing, about when all this stuff was exploding about 2 to 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, like I quickly saw where it was headed, and I continue to, just hammer it with my staff. Like, your primary job is to stay on top of these tools and learn about it.
Yeah.
And implement them, because they're so groundbreaking. When you do find a use case that's literally shifts what we do, if we're not doing it, somebody else will do it. Somebody else will 10x their output for the same price. And we're going to be sitting there quoting an antiquated way of doing something that will never get the job, because we're already in the, pre-industrial age, right? Like when it comes to these processes. So you got to stay on top of these tools. Now, that being said, we tested so many of them, and it feels like 1 to 2% have hit, you know what I mean, for real benefits. But you got to find those. You got to find those things. Like one example where it's really changed the way we work. Take for instance, we just launched a new website for a client that does these very luxury, high-end, low-speed vehicles, golf carts. It's not for the golf course, but it's for tootling around town and beach communities and senior communities. Beautiful. These things are beautiful. Like, they got solar panels if you want. They got these sound bars, LED lighting, full dash cam with a multimedia touchscreen and
nice.
Digital display. They're really nice.
Bougie
leather seats.
They're bougie golf carts.
Really nice. Yeah, I have no need for one, but I want one. So, it's winter time. We're in Chicago. They're not far from us here. We can't shoot lifestyle imagery. We'd love to go shoot drone photos in 5 locations and things like that, right? To get beautiful imagery, we'd have to hire models, go to different locations, shoot drone footage and stuff like that. Within the short time span of when we started this project, and the advancements of some of these tools, we were able to create amazing lifestyle imagery utilizing the very high-res detailed product shots that we took for the website that were kind of like in a studio white environment. I mean, these are big things. We had to go to their site and build a studio there and this big giant light box and stuff when we did the shoot. But we captured all the products and their details. And the models are getting so good now that the product consistency stays really good. Before you would take this product, put it in this scene, the AI would get funny and
screw it up. Yeah.
tweak the product, which doesn't work. You can't sell a product that doesn't look like what it really looks like. Well, it's doing tremendously better at it. It still does a little bit of it, but it's way better. So we were able to generate these amazing scenes in different locations with people and models and pets and showing the use of these things. And they look fantastic. You know what I mean? And before, what we used to do as kind of an interim between doing the full lifestyle shoot to maybe a less expensive alternative is we'd shoot in studio, select a stock scene ahead of time, and then shoot in studio and match lighting and perspective
to the scene where you're going to drop the image in,
to cut it out and put it in the scene.
Yeah.
And it would still save a lot of money, over going to the full actual location and all the travel and this, gear and setup and everything. So we did that a lot for a long time as an alternative to save people money to get, fairly nice images, and we could Photoshop it to match really well. And you really couldn't tell in most cases. You know what I mean? The AI stuff
like matching lighting, that's not easy. Like if you have a background that's like at dusk,
yes,
you got a car, you got to set the lighting up to hit dusk. And that's not, you need a professional lighting.
Hard soft shadows, color temperature, directional, the lighting to match a scene. It took a lot to get that done right. Still way cheaper than going on location. Right. Now with AI, it's amazing. Like it puts
it does that.
It puts the right reflections on the hood. It has the uplighting from the ground light bounce. It's almost perfect. Like the images come out so well, almost sometimes too perfect, right? But with good prompting, you can get what you're looking for. It really, and it takes the prompt because you become the creative director with the prompt, and it's getting really good at that, right? So that's one example of how it's changed our workflow. So like, again, why would we do it the old way? Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
doesn't make any sense.
We ended up earning the same amount of money, except we produced about 10x the amount of images.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now we need those images for social. And the problem, it's better service, because at the end of the day, our next step with that client is to run paid media campaigns and do a lot of, advertising and start to drive leads to their new site. Because they're a new startup. We need lots of creatives. And a lot of times in the past, a client's kind of limited budget. We can only create so many images. Now we have this ability to
unlimited image creation,
almost unlimited images, right? Which makes our marketing much more flexible and allows us to test more and iterate more, which is great from a marketing standpoint, because at the end of the day, what's our goal is to break them into a new market and steal from their competitors. Right. And, and really show off how beautiful these carts are, in different niches and different uses. So a lot of times we're struggled to get those assets. Now we have this open door to
it's all good. Assets. You're good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your production, your pre-production production process is shifted. Now, if you go to, if let's say the golf cart company comes to you today and you're like, okay, I know all of the content that I'm gonna have to create for this entire campaign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the golf cart in. We're going to shoot these shots on a green screen or on a white background. We need it from these angles, all this stuff. You should do one shoot, knowing that you can use all that photography for every other asset that you need to create, whether it's night shots, morning, on the beach, at the golf course with the person sitting in it. You can get all of it. So it changes the way you do your production. You just do one shoot and you just get, right? Am I hitting that right?
To some degree. Now keep in mind, here's where it fails miserably. Video. It's not there yet. You know what I mean?
Video's not there yet.
It's not even close. Like images are so good, but video is just, it goes into wonkyville, you know what I mean? With videos and if you're you might get like a great 2-second clip or a 1.5 second clip, and the other 1.5 seconds at the end, something really weird happens, an arm goes through a tree or something. or there's an expression on somebody's face that just looks weird. You know what I mean? It just, it has this very, uncanny valley AI feel to it. It's just like, you're like, something's not right here. Like, people are just getting better at spotting AI video, not so much images, but video for sure. Now, in the past, we would do shoots like this and absolutely capture still images and video at the same time. You got the location, you got the products, you got the models, you got the crew and everything. You're going to get as many assets as you can out of there, both still and video. We're not going to do a photo shoot and come back and do a video shoot. We're going to get it all right there.
All the same time.
So while AI is amazing, like, I'd love to be able to have AI do so good at video, but right now it's just not that great. It's just not, people can say it is, but it's not. You see these, you have to, it's almost in the mid-journey days, the original mid-journey days. You got to have it create.
We got
100 videos and maybe see what you got,
right.
worthwhile. And you're basically now forced to use something that you didn't really, it's not ideal. It's not really what you wanted. You didn't direct it. You know what I mean? And it's not conveying what you wanted it to convey, but you're kind of like, well, it's close enough. I'll use it. Maybe, you know what I mean? That's not great. That's not great for marketing. You know what I mean? So, it could, a year from now, we could be, like I said, this could date poorly and it could be amazing for video. We have no idea, you know what I mean? But again, are we going to all, as people who produce videos, we're going to cry that our craft has now disappeared? Our craft has just changed. You know what I mean? It's just changed.
Yeah.
And I don't think the average public can use these tools like creatives even can to some degree.
No, they're
you know what I mean?
so complicated. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It is so hard.
Again, what are we, you're still the director and it still needs the director in the chair. You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess,
you need
at the end of the day.
You need the creative person there somewhere.
Yeah. I even have I even have like some of my creatives when I'm like, here, check this image out I made. And they're like, wow, what's the prompt you use? And then I show them this long
it's a mile long. It's a mile long.
Yeah. Yes. And I said, and here's what I used 3 steps ahead to get to that prompt. And they're like, oh yeah, I got to do more of that. You know what I mean? Like we're all learning how to use these tools properly. But if you're like, oh, give me a golf cart at sunset, roll the dice. What are you going to get? You have no idea. You know what I mean? It could be wonky, so it's, again, you need to be the director in the chair. You need to be the creative director. And again, that goes back to like saying, not all people know what to prompt if they're not creative by nature. Right.
Right. Well, prompting is its own kind of like animal in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like I started like about a year and a half ago. I came up with that. This is not ingenious, but I just figured out, I don't have to write my own prompts. I should have AI write my prompts for me. Which is like this weird, bizarre thing, right? Like, it's like, why? I want to prompt AI to make me an image. So I'm going to try and write the prompt correct and then keep rewriting it over and over and over again. No. I'm just going to ask AI, hey, will you write me the prompt to help me make this image? It's like, you're just backing.
It's a viable strategy. And I use it sometimes as well. Because sometimes you're like, I want this feel of the color grading, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it into words so that the AI understands it, but you can say,
describe
here's 3 images, describe this, right? And now you can take what it described, its interpretation of that digital image, right? Or these digital images. And now you can tweak that prompt to say, here's how I want you to go based on how I know you're speaking its language now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And sometimes it, like, I've been doing this 26 years. Can I tell you what every graphic or photographic style, the proper terminology is for that? I know what I want in my head, but I don't know how to put it to words sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that it helps you with that. So it can help you. Absolutely. Like you said, to help you engineer a prompt, in essence, so it's, like I said, we're all feeling our way through this stuff. It's a fantastic tool. It is already changing everything, but I'm less, doomsday, replace everybody kind of thing on
Let's not do that. Let's not go doomsday. I don't want to go Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anything, I have seen some models do what Claude is doing, where it kind of just, it's almost like sometimes it becomes so human-like that it just gives you poor and lazy responses. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to push back at it. Like you're like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird phenomenon. And I have seen so many instances where I'm like, hey, like give you an example. I have a great idea for a clip that I want to do on TikTok. And I'm like, find me some evidence of this out there. Give me some studies and some, research or some anything, anybody who's published something, this charts, graphs. If it can't find it, it won't say, I can't find it.
It'll make something up.
Like literally makes up a study, makes up the facts and
It
figures.
doesn't want to disappoint.
It gives me a URL that when you click on it goes to a 404.
Yeah, it goes nowhere.
Like it just like, so it's like,
it's
okay,
trying to please you. It does not want to fail.
It's the ultimate yes man. It's the ultimate yes man,
That
It
is
really
a problem. There is a feedback. There's a positive like reaffirmation feedback loop in AI. Like I'll ask it the stupidest question and it'll come back and say, oh my gosh, Adrian, that's a brilliant question. I'm surprised you're thinking like that. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm a freaking genius.
You're so smart. You're so smart.
Not. I actually caught myself.
You're right. I am.
I actually caught myself going in ChatGPT. I actually caught myself going, well, I feel really good. I feel really good when I use ChatGPT. What is happening here?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's manipulating you as it speaks,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen this kid? He looks like he's 20 something and he does these hilarious videos where he gets on, the visual mode of ChatGPT, right? Where it can see what you see, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he'll be talking, like you'll see him on screen, like, and she's like, hey, I got these new pants. What do you think about them? And they're like, oh, those are wonderful pants. They're, they fit you great. Oh yeah.
Really well.
What color are the pants? And be like, well, from what I can see, they're blue pants. You know what I mean? And there's no pants in the,
I have seen this guy. He's hilarious.
Video like this after it's hilarious. And
hilarious.
So again, if it's doing that, and you can't trust it with that. Well, where do you trust it? What do you trust, right? Are you going to trust it with your entire business strategy then? If it can, you know what I mean? Like if it hallucinates once, when will it hallucinate next? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you expect these systems to not hallucinate. You expect it to not BS. You expect it to give you perfect results every time. So once it breaks that trust, where do you trust it? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because it just sounds really good. The plans it produces sound extremely well articulated and confident and well structured. But what are the omissions? What are the things it didn't tell you? What are the things that are just flat out wrong? What are the things that,
or what if it's just a bad idea?
What if it would just send your business down the toilet if you actually executed this? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you, that's where I'm starting to question it tremendously more and more. And my use cases, my real true day-to-day useful use cases to this day are very niche and narrow. I mean, even on the programming and coding side, Claude Code has gone to a whole next level with coding. And I asked my lead developer, who's brilliant, back-end coder, developer, engineer guy, he's like, I do use it. He goes, but when I check it, it does create some wonky garbage code. And sometimes that garbage code can lead to security vulnerabilities or other issues. You know what I mean? So then again, is he saving time by now having to go review it all and patch and fix it and worry versus just coding it to begin with? I don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to do. And you know what I mean? Like, he did a couple projects where he's like, oh, this saved me. This did this in 1/10 of the time. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, shit, there's a bunch of bugs I'm fixing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's after going through iterations of testing. a lot of things didn't work. You know what I mean? It wasn't thorough on its own testing. And then it's kind of like, again,
It's
now
just
you
not
go
there
back
yet.
and you reevaluate and you say, did my 10x output actually, is it really 10x output, or is it 0.8 after I had to go figure out what was wrong and then go back and fix it? You know what I mean?
I
Could
think
I have
one of
done
the
it faster just myself to begin with? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or can I
think
use it
one of
maybe
the
for short sprints, you know? And it helps
Right,
me on these short
right.
sprints where you kind of give it very small things that, you know, then maybe that's the use case. But everybody's got to feel that out for themselves, you know?
Yeah. I think one of the scariest, probably the scariest thing for me is not, I mean, this happens like coding problems, glitches, you know, it producing content that's not correct, you know, whatever type of content you're trying to create. But the scariest thing is for me is the psychological relationship that humans are making with AI, where AI is always positive and affirming the decision. Like you might have a shit decision that's a horrible decision, and
We've
AI
seen
will
this
say,
movie.
that is absolutely brilliant. Move forward, right? Because it doesn't have the architecture inside of it to disagree like it should. And
No,
so
but
it
you can
just
prompt it to disagree with you, but even the
yeah.
disagreements, you can't. Can you trust the disagreements, or is it just
Who
disagree
knows?
because
Who knows?
you told it to disagree? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Exactly.
Again, you know, like stop making it replace your thinking. You know what I mean? Be the ultimate thinker. Have it be the, you know, use it as
It's an execution. It's a worker,
use
but
it to
not a
execute.
thinker.
If you want it to think, use it as one of the advisors in the room, but you make the ultimate decision, right?
Right.
Knowing that maybe the advisor's advice isn't always going to be right. You know what I mean? You have to question it yourself, you know, but as soon as you just like turn off your brain and say like, oh, it's so smart, it's going to think for me, I don't have to think. Well, you're setting yourself up for trouble. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that whole, you know, thing where it's so confident in telling you what you want to hear. It's, you know, like you ever seen that movie with, was it Joaquin Phoenix? Her? You seen that?
Her? Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, creepy. Well, we're there. We're almost there.
We're there. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's kind of freaky stuff, man. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a depressing movie to watch. And I'm like, are we living this right now? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, people are, I have a friend of mine who is a therapist, like psychologist, you know, and and her big thing, you know, is about how scary AI is right now, where people are using it as a therapist and a confidant and a, you know, asking for life advice. You know, that's scary, you know, and I mean, I you know, I don't know.
There are limitations, and we need to figure out what the limitations are, but they're a lot closer than we want to believe is the reality.
They are, and but they're masked in that amazing confidence. You know what I mean? And amazing instantaneous results.
And
right?
approval,
It gives you this. It gives you this incredible impression of this omniscient superpower being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, you know, as the data centers get bigger and the chips get faster and these models get better, it kind of is appearing to be that way. But the question is it? Is the, in a general sense, is it actually giving good advice? Is it giving good advice 90% of the time? And is 90% of the time good enough?
Good enough. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how are you to know what is the 90% and what's the 10%? You know?
Yeah.
Or if it's 98 and 2, you know what I mean? Could the 2, you know, bring down a business or a CEO?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
do you end up wasting 50% of your time on the 2% that's no good? You know?
Yeah.
Whatever that might be. So yeah, I get it.
Me personally, I've tested it and use it. So probably more than anybody else on my team, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just because I'm constantly seeing something I see online and I'm like, is this real or is this bullshit? And every time I go try it myself, I'm like, wow, it's kind of been lackluster. You know what I mean? Like I went down the rabbit hole of OpenClaw and
got
it up and working.
I canceled
and running
it immediately.
And everything. Well, it just like I couldn't find anything useful out of it because it just went off the rails so much. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I've even switched to Claude Cowork and it's gone off the rails so much and or you hit an API limit, it just forgets everything you did. You can create these amazing instruction and MD files and it just magically starts to ignore them over time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can follow people's best practices, but let's be real. Everybody's best practice is something they came up with within the last 30 to 60 days because it's changing so fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, there's no guru on this. Everybody's feeling their way
Everybody's
around
trying
these
to
tools.
figure it out. Yeah.
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 I even had Claude Cowork just do basic internet scraping tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, can it do this? I'm just wondering. And sure enough, it did it. And it just burned through so many credits for something like this, where like this old scraping tool that I would have used in the past just was programmed to just do that task and did it so much faster and better.
It was cheap.
Without error. You know what I mean? You know, and I don't know, you know. What's the moral here, Adrian? You know,
what's the moral? The moral here is I think that your claim is correct, which is you have to use AI as a narrow worker with specific tasks. You don't hand over creativity and idea and entire campaign marketing or whatever it might be to AI, because it's not going to. I mean, you're the use case. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But it can be used specifically to handle certain tasks that are narrow in scope. And I've seen the same thing with my company as well. Like, you don't turn over an entire marketing campaign to AI for a dental practice. You're going to get slop. It's just going to be junk. But you can use it to do this piece and you can use it to do this piece. And that ends up saving a tremendous amount of time, which then you extend your operational dollars. You can drop your costs. You can pass that along to your clients. But I'll tell you, like, the nuance at like inserting AI in the right place, like, unless you're a marketing like freaking guru and you're like neck deep in this stuff, you don't know where to insert it. Like, it's not this idea that like, oh, just turn AI on and you're good to go. Like, I had a doctor in a Facebook group say, oh, I just turned on OpenClaw, I'm just doing all my marketing. It's amazing. I said, well, dude, it's not even HIPAA compliant. You know, there's cybersecurity issues all over the place. You're going to get your ass sued. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll think about that. It's like, hello, you know, it's so, you can't do it. It's not there yet, even if it will ever get there. So anyway, I think your claim is correct. There we go.
Yeah. And you have to check it all the time. You really do.
Yeah.
You just have to check it all the time.
If the stuff falls apart, even like breaks, APIs break, you know, your credits run out, who knows?
It is. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example of, are you familiar with like Make or N8N, right?
Yeah. I use Make.
I built some workflows in Make, you know, that just, you know, posting things, just doing this routine tasks over and over, just save time. You can just drop things in a Google Drive or whatever. You can create these nice automations, right?
Yeah.
I just canceled my Make subscription because I use Claude Code to build a small, you know, web-based app that does the same thing, and forced my way through Claude Code doing it. Now it works really well, and it's doing those same thing that the Make automation does. And now it's kind of like I don't have to pay for all the usage and the monthly fees of Make and all this kind of stuff in these scenarios, which are a little clunky, and they were really a pain in the ass to develop, where I can kind of do it. But at some point that Claude Code app is going to break, and the question will be, will Claude be able to fix it? And how much more time I'm going to spend trying to prompt it to fix it, right? But, and these are like, again, short sprints. Just automate this one task for me.
Yeah,
you know
just do this one
little app that automates this one thing.
Yep.
Can I sit back and say, hey, take all of these things that are going on in my business, answer my emails, run this, fill my calendar, do that? Hell no. Can you imagine just letting go of the reins and hope it doesn't, you know, just crash and burn?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I just have zero absolute trust in that. And you see all these people, they're like, oh, you know, I've got this running my entire
they're
business.
pitching it.
You know,
They're just pitching that.
They're pitching it like it's some godsend tool, but like, get real. in practice, that's bullshit. It doesn't work. It's utter bullshit.
Yeah.
People are selling tools, platforms, and of course, courses. Like everybody on there selling a course. You know what I mean? That's my favorite thing you see online is the guy selling the course on how to get rich. Right. Yeah. Let's be real. Everybody who knows the secret to making money in a niche,
they don't
the last
share
thing
it.
they do is they don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it at the dinner party. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, get real. Like, it's just like so many people are falling for the guys out there with courses, but,
oh, it's crazy.
But yeah, it's not there yet. These are amazing tools, but the reality, and I think a lot of big corporations, I'm seeing more and more news about this, is they're scaling back. They push so hard and they're scaling back because they just find that in practice, it's not practical, because most likely they're running across the same things you and I have noticed is it makes too many mistakes and it can't be trusted. And, at all the times, not all employees are perfect and every human's perfect, but I find it strange, and I find AI making more mistakes than my staff, you know what I mean? By far.
Yeah.
Which is scary, so like, could you let go of the reins? I use like Opus Clip for, cutting up podcasts and trying to save time on editing. And I've stopped using it for the actual thing it's built for because I don't like how it edits. And I just use it right now as a caption and scheduling tool. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I'm like, and by the time I want to fix its bad edits, I'm like, well, shit, we could have just edited that ourselves.
Done it myself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Every time we've tried to do certain things, like I said, the use cases are very narrow and
very narrow.
You know what I mean?
Very narrow.
So,
well, thanks, Len.
It'd be cool if it was better. Maybe it will be one day.
Yeah, it'll get better and better. But I think that the process is the same. Niche, short sprints. Don't throw everything at the wall and walk away. You're gonna get your ass handed to you. So, all right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
You're
Pure
welcome.
AI. I'll put all your contact information in the description. If there's a dental practice out there that's looking for a boutique.
Pure Eye, not Pure AI.
Yeah, excuse me, Pure Eye.
We're Pure Eye that sometimes uses AI.
PUREI.
Yeah. The company name is
PUREI.
Pure Imagination. Yeah, the official company name is Pure Imagination, and then 20 years ago we shortened it to Pure Eye. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're looking for a boutique, super creative genius to come in and really structure a great marketing campaign, you should definitely take a look at Len and his company. So thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate it. Good time.
Thanks for listening to Bite Size Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date with everything dental AI and tech